So I've moved downstairs, and in this corner here, where I now keep the treadle sewing machine, that's been pushed up under the window over Christmas, because in this corner that's where the Christmas tree was, and I took it down today. So a lady in the comments said that she's actually got rid of her electric machines, or she's put them away because she got fed up with the noise of them. And I've talked a lot about my Husqvarna sewing machine, haven't I? And the only thing I don't like about that machine is the awful noise it makes. And it got me thinking that this is actually quite a nice piece of furniture, and I do like it being in this room, but I do tend to walk past it and forget it. So I'm just saying sorry. And I'm opening it up for the first time probably in about 6 months. I can't remember when I last did my video of sewing here, and it does feel a little bit like opening up a present. So let's have a look and see how we're doing. So on this type of machine, the threads are kept in here. So let's see how we do. I'm going to need another light, I think. What's going on in here? So this is a leather strip here that goes around here, and when it's not in use you are advised to move this across so that it doesn't put a strain on the piece of leather. What you need to do when you come to sew it again, sew with it again, is to put it back in the ridge that's in the wheel. Now I'm wondering what being in a centrally heated house. Ironically, I brought this back from the brief time it was in the shed because of potential damp, but it is actually in a centrally heated house, albeit a cool part of it. I'm wondering what that's done to this piece of leather, but I do have a spare if I need it. Right, that's back on now. So it's a very simple mechanism. When you finish sewing, you just turn that way and just slip it off the wheel to take the pressure off. It seems to be okay. And here's the treadle here. Now, in a previous video I did show how to do this, or how I learnt to do it, and I'm going to do it again in case you're on this video because you're watching how to do treadling. So what I find helpful is to put my feet on the treadle, sort of bottom left and top right. Before I get going and thread up the machine, I'll show you. But basically, if you treadle and think more bicycle than any kind of putting your foot on an accelerator, don't do this. Well, some people might do that and find it useful, but I find it easier to have it like this. And when it gets going, you have a slightly uneven movement, and that enables you to keep the momentum going. But I'll show that again once it's up and running. So here you see me making the straps. I'm actually going to give you measurements in the description for two sizes of bag, but the straps are the same for both. Put out pieces measuring 22 inches by 4 inches, fold them wrong sides together inside twice, and then sew down each side of the straps, as you see me doing here. So the one you see me making is this shape, and I'll also give you the measurements to make the one that appeared in my Happy New Year video, that's a little bit smaller and longer than it's wide, and is suitable for things like books and so on. This is a really handy size for craft items, lunch, few books, that kind of thing. And it's like this one, it's also got a contrast strip at the top, but it's just a little bit smaller. So measurements for both and fabric requirements are both in the description. So if you haven't watched it, take a look at that video, because I'll go through things I've made and patterns that I'm going to be making things from this year, including the coat pattern that you see on the left there, which I'm going to be demonstrating. So cut out your outer fabric. Um, so you actually see me measuring the larger bag here, the dark green one, and that's cutting one continuous piece. You just love a nice selvage. Just makes me so happy when I see that. You the same? Or am I just a bit sad? Is it just me? I just love it. Oh, sorry. I just love it when you can see a nice little selvage like that, which actually, sadly, I do need to cut off. So that's not included in my measurements. But I always keep them. I've got a little box that I keep them in. So that's that one. That's the outer piece. To cut out your lining piece, I've actually chosen this is called Linen Effect Cotton, and I really like it because it's a textured cotton fabric, just a bit better than plain white sheer fabric, and I quite like the way it handles for a bag lining, and I like light coloured bag linings because you can see the contents easily. So just cut out your piece for your lining. Now that's also cut in a continuous strip. The measurements are in the description depending on which bag you're making. And it's just a little bit shorter than the outer piece. So as well as those two pieces, the outer and the lining, you need strips that give you that contrast strip at the top that I was talking about. And obviously these will be different measurements, they'll be in the description. And then the handles are made the same for both. And you will need two strips, 22 inch by 4 inches. Make these by pressing them in half lengthways, as you see me doing here. Then pressing each edge inwards towards that press central line. And then folding it in half again. And then sewing down each side to secure the strap. So mark the centre of the short side of your lining just by folding over, pressing, and then mark the centre of the neck, each section like that, and that's where you put your pin. And that's where your handles are going to go. And do the same the other end, and then pin the handles to the lining. Just sew those just to keep them in place. Next, get your contrast strip and pin it in place, right sides together with the lining, making sure that the handles are folded inwards when you do it. So then just stitch that all the way down both ends. Next, get your lining piece right sides up and place the outer piece right sides together on top and pin in place.
What you making, honey?
In a bag.
Bag.
You
How's
right?
your machine?
It's great. So what we have to do now is get the bag, flip it like this, so it's half and half. That's the outer and that's the lining. Line at the seams at the side. Pin those in place. Do the same on the other side. line up the seams like that, pin them in place. Now all we have to do is sew all the way down there and all the way down here, but in the lining just leave a little gap to turn it round the right way. As you know, there's no reverse on this machine, so at the end I just need to turn my bag around and go back like this. So I just need to remove the pins and just turn the bag around the right way through the gap. So we'll just be sewing up that gap in the lining once we've checked that all of the seams are okay. Don't sew that up until you've done that. Make sure that you haven't got any bits coming out here where the straps are. Make sure they're in securely. Make sure the bottom's all okay. So I'll just sew up that gap first. Just go back over that because there's no back stitch, so I'll just double back over it. The thing you can do if you've got no back stitch is just tie up your threads here. It has the same effect as back stitching. The last step. So tuck the lining inside and then ideally press it along this line here so that your contrast strip is inside, and then we're going to top stitch along here, and where the straps are they'll be stitched like that in with the top stitching all the way around. do hope you've enjoyed this little project. Thank you to the lady who suggested, who told me that she has actually put her electric machines away, and that just made me appreciate this machine all over again. And after being sort of stuck in a corner for 6 months, I literally just got it going again, and it's always the same. You just get it going again and it's fine. I feel so lucky to have it. I hope you like this little bag. I'm rather in love with this print. I like the way it looks next to the white. I like to have this little contrast here at the top. So let me know what you think and whether you might try this project, and do subscribe if you haven't already, so that you don't miss any more future projects on my treadle machine or with my other vintage machines. Thanks for watching.